animation thing. You know what I just realized?
What?
Our intro graphics have never been more appropriate.
Yes!
You guys very excited. You saw several examples at the beginning of this here show, along with the lovely but annoying Lauren Sivan. Jack Plotnick is on line fun. He co-wrote and directed the wonderful Broadway musical Disaster, still playing around with schools across the country. You've seen him in Z Nation, The Mentalist, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He's been in fucking everything. He's currently on Grace and Frankie, Reno 911, in all its incarnations. Oh my God, we have a whatchamacallit, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon a little bit. I'll tell you why. With regards to Space Station 76, also he was in the cult hit Girls Will Be Girls. But my brother, I'm so jealous. I have Lauren Sivan is like this. She's friends with Sam Rockwell, and as a result, I never get to hang out with Sam Rockwell. She never lets me hang out with any of her famous friends. Now my brother is like that. He is neighbors with Patrick Wilson. And they've become regular pals. Patrick Wilson just go over and hang out at his house, and now you have given me an in with him. I'm like, hey, we've got a mutual friend. But thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Hey, good morning. I'm so happy to be here. Everything's great on this side of the country.
Sorry, that sounds to me like the voice of thanks for making me wake up at 9:30.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. We always feel a little surge of sympathy for our West Coast guests.
It adds like 8 hours to my day. This is wonderful. Who knew there was this? I only knew about the afternoon. So this has been very exciting for me.
Yeah.
Oh, there's going to be so many Bloody Mary specials, brunch-wise, that you are now able to indulge, thanks to us. But thank you very much. I had Patrick Wilson, the brief time I met him, and he sure as shit didn't know me. He seemed like a lovely guy. I assume it was fun to work with him.
Oh, he's the best. It's a dream to work with Patrick Wilson. He is just the nicest guy. There was a shot in our film where he played the closeted captain of a spaceship, and he takes a bath in which he tries to kill himself. But the point is, I was like, I was like, is it okay? Could we show your butt? And he was like, you know what? I show my butt in so many movies. I think I need to skip this one. I was like, okay. So I had Jerry O'Connell show his butt. Don't worry, butts get shown.
Yeah.
Jerry O'Connell is a wonderful butt backup. And I will say this, he might be shy about showing his butt, but I will often listen to the many soccer moms, much the way Joanne is dressed today, in my brother's neighborhood, and they, to a T, will always mention whether or not that week Patrick Wilson was mowing the lawn with his shirt off. That is the strain that goes through every single one of their conversations. I shit you not. It's shirtless Patrick Wilson updates.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
The rest of the dads don't have. I don't think the rest of the dads have the personal. Yeah. All the other dads don't look like they have personal trainers. Put it that way. So Patrick is sort of like, it's the only bit of food in a very starving area. Well, we have a great pair of producers if you reference something, but we did show a couple of clips at the beginning of the show, along with a brief thing of the wonderful profile Lauren did of you, we've shown some clips. So I don't want to repeat myself too much because I tweeted out her link, but it would have you've done so much, but I still think that this is such a fun, interesting way to sort of stick yourself out in a crowd because it's just so unique and hilarious.
Well, yeah. What first inspired you to insert yourself into a lot of these old original Disney making of movies? Do you have a passion for Disney? Are you a Disney adult? Where does this stem from?
I am obsessed with Disney World, especially is how I got started because my family would go there on vacations and it just became the happy place for the Plotnicks. And so I think during quarantine, I think I just wanted to escape the world. And so I would just go down YouTube rabbit holes, and I found that I was kind of regressing to childhood and just obsessing over any video about Disney. Like it could be like best place to eat at Disneyland, worst place to eat. It was just anything Disney. And then I didn't even know about these The Wonderful World of Color videos where Disney in like the early 60s was walking this woman named Julie Reams around the Imagineer workshop. And I was like, who's Julie Reams? Like,
Yeah.
it was something I never even heard of. And apparently she was like the Disney, the person who he was about to send out into the world to inform the public about his new park, Disneyland.
Oh,
Anyway, yeah. So I think I just literally just wanted to, because I grew up wanting to be an Imagineer. I was obsessed with
Wow.
the idea that you could actually make a living making a Disney attraction. So,
seriously.
yeah, yeah. And then it just so happened that Blaine Gibson, who was being featured in this episode, looked a little like me. And I was like, I want to be him. And so I just stuck myself in and I took his place. But then I kind of realized, like, as I was doing this scene with Walt and he was introducing me to Julie, it just the whole sort of 60s, because I'm also obsessed with Mad Men, that 60s vibe, you
Uh-huh.
know, the misogyny and the just the uh just the lack of PC-ness
Oh
from
yeah.
back then just started to tickle me. And I just started, like, through improvisation finding my first video, and then I just kept making them as a hobby. So I'm thrilled. I just love that people discover them and are enjoying them.
I was telling Bill and I have brilliant ideas, much like you. Although, unlike you,
I've heard.
we have zero
No
follow
follow through.
through.
Absolutely none.
It is very hard for me to commit to a bit. I get lazy, I get distracted. Your level of commitment is what makes these videos so fun and so good. From the costumes to the backdrops, the green screen you're using, I would love to know approximately how long it takes you to prep, shoot, and edit
Oh
these
yeah.
like one video.
Oh, that's hysterical. You know, as I'm making them, I don't really see it that way. But now I'm kind of looking at it through your eyes and I'm going, who is this insane person?
Oh.
Why did he do this?
Are you kidding me? You're our hero. I
Truly,
mean,
no,
we
I'm so
can't.
impressed.
Like, I can't even blame being a millennial. I'm old as fuck. I don't know what happened to my attention span. I can't commit to anything. But
You know what? They once I come up with the idea that I know I want to film, it really doesn't take as long as you would think. Yeah, basically, I'll just go to a thrift store and grab the thing that looks closest to. So I had to match a dress a woman was wearing, and I just found one that the back kind of resembled it. So I just turned the dress backwards, and you know what? You only have to sell like from here to here. You know,
That's
I'm not.
true.
I'm. So
that's a good
it's
point.
not too hard. But I guess, you know, filming takes maybe three. I'll shoot three different times because often there's like 7 characters I'm playing, and the hardest thing is remembering like where to look, like who's
Yeah.
looking where, and then editing I guess takes a week to 2 weeks. So it does take time, but I just keep remembering like it'll be good to have it when I'm done.
I love them so much, and like you,
Oh,
I
thank
think
you.
you and I have very similar YouTube wormholes because I can go through Disney 2 weeks, and I don't. It'll be as if I'm coming out of a coma. I don't know if it's day or night. I like the ones where like I watched, and it was God help me, it was probably about an hour long. You might be you're too young to remember this. They used to have this thing in Disney World called Pleasure Island.
Oh, sure.
But not
Yeah,
like in the
yeah.
and it was the adult area, and they do the whole history of that. It's very odd, and it goes through all these incarnations, and like the next thing you know, oh, just lost 2 hours. I could have actually gone to an actual movie,
Yeah.
but now I know what the god of Pleasure Island and why he was a moon and all this shit. And you finally did something proactive with all of that. But again, it goes back to the '60s Disney promos in the world of color. I wonder too, even though of course you're lampooning that culture, everyone is offended about everything these days. Have you ever gotten any negative feedback from something that you did that was era specific?
You know, I think I'm very happy to say no, but what I have gotten is some lovely comments from Imagineers, which really
I
thrills me.
saw
'Cause-
that. Unbelievable. And the Sherman Brothers' son, correct? Or what?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, yeah. Like when I found out that they pass it between themselves, that absolutely thrilled me. It's the biggest honor ever. And I hear you about the wormholes, and it's so funny because my 2 YouTube wormholes tend to be Disney and murder interrogations. So what does that say about me?
Did you just see Joe light up?
Can you send me your history so I have new videos to watch?
Oh, it's just such a strange, like, back and forth. But I don't. Yeah, it's like, maybe it's sort of like sweet and salty, sweet and salty.
Well, I think
Yeah.
really what it is as an actor, it's human behavior. There's
Oh,
something
wow.
really intriguing about that and the psyche of people and what motivates them. At least that's how I justify.
But also the prep. You're prepping.
I love that's my excuse.
There you go.
But why looking at the crime scene photos, huh? Have you figured out a reason?
Yeah, I'll work on it. I'll work on that.
I couldn't agree more. It's like people in America are obsessed with these crime TV shows.
It's unbelievable.
But like to watch an actual interrogation, it's all about that human behavior, and it gives me chills thinking about, because it's just very powerful, and to me much more interesting than I'm just tired of TV structure sometimes.
Oh, completely. And again, goes back to the lack of attention from my end, attention span. Look, I can't even finish my sentence. Now,
right, you got bored halfway through.
I know. It's even the sound of my voice I don't like.
Let's just give up.
Yeah, but in doing all of this and the attention to detail and just also watching these videos, have you picked up a lot of fun bit of Disney minutia / fun facts that a lot of others wouldn't know along the way?
Yeah, I would definitely say that anytime you put your focus on something, it's like you just learn more and more about it. I'm very happy to say that I got to go to the Disneyland about a month ago with a friend who's friends with an Imagineer. And so, I mean, like everything we walked by, I was like, is there a story about that? Is there a story about that? And he told me some pretty good ones.
I love
there's
that.
one that I don't know if I can even say. So there was an article this week about a boat got stalled on the Pirates of the Caribbean.
We have
and
that.
there was a quote about we were going to just swim our way to safety, and they ended up not having to. After an hour, they got saved. Somebody pulled them out of the boat. But I have to figure that would have been like 1,000 times more dangerous than the boat sinking, because like there's a lot of gears underneath those boats, I have to figure, and they would just eat you up if you stepped out of that boat.
No kidding.
And apparently probably the most dangerous ride in the history of Disneyland was the People Mover, the slowest ride in the history of the world. It went like 2 miles an hour, but people would step off it and think they could sort of get off the ride, and it would just gobble you up. And like I think 2 or 3 people died.
Oh,
and apparently, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I think at Disney in the offices they called it just really dark.
That's why they're called Imagineers. It's that kind of award-winning wordplay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
Puts them exactly where they are. And the water, too. I mean, there's a famous Simpsons episode where Bart dares Lisa to drink the water in Busch Beerland on one of those water rides, and she starts tripping balls the minute she has drinks the water. So I don't think it's much different there.
It eats right through clothing.
Yeah. Well, and then obviously we watched your take on It's a Small World. Not a ride. You're absolutely right. Sort of some of your, it was so funny. And I never even really sat down to think about it too. But God, also what an earworm. But sort of like, and I know we don't want to besmirch the Disney, but maybe your favorite and least favorite aspects of the park experience.
So I call It's a Small World a craft exhibit you look at from a boat. But I can
original title.
I say this because I love Disneyland, and so hopefully people get that it's coming from a place of love. But my favorite and least favorite, did you say, of the park?
Yes.
Well, I think currently my favorite ride is still Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think that ride is incredible, though they've made some changes that make no sense to me. But let me think. The ride that I just never want to step on again would be definitely Teacups. Yeah. I don't want to get anywhere near that. I don't understand why they made it. Who enjoys it?
Although you had a very nice, in one of your videos, the button at the end is an idea of maybe how the teacups, where the inspiration came from. possibly a little hungover nauseousness and coffee in a teacup.
I never even
Yes,
Uh,
yes. I love hinting that the women do all the work
Yes.
and that the men just
The
steal
men
their
get the
ideas.
coffee.
Yeah.
If I may add to It's a Small World, I went to Disney World a bunch as a child. I had grandparents who lived in Florida, so my parents would take my sister and I there. And of course, as a child, you're on It's a Small World, and it's incredible. You've never seen anything like it before. You're hearing these different languages, all of the colors and all of that. You're on a boat inside. What? But I then went back when I was maybe in my early 20s because I had a friend who was a dancer in Disney World. So I got to go to the park for free. But I had a lot of alone time because they had to perform throughout the day. So I was like, let me go back on It's a Small World. You know, the ride isn't great for an adult in the first place.
No.
But when you are alone
Oh, yeah.
on the boat and you have no one to talk to and you're just stuck with your thoughts and these singing children, it's really not the greatest.
Well, what about those tiki birds?
Depressing.
My
I love
mom still
stuck
likes
with
the
these
tiki
singing
birds.
children.
tiki-
Yeah, I went on that for the first time on my last visit. I don't know how I kept skipping it. It actually is delightful, and apparently it's the ride closest to what it originally was. It's the only ride that has remained exactly the same.
Yes, you would
Wow.
describe those animatronics as possibly a little rudimentary. Essentially, just the mouth moves like this.
Yeah.
Technology that existed in the 17th century, I believe, is used there. But yeah, there are a lot of those that are ride in the loosest sense. I guess It's a Small World being number one. But also, you did sort of tee us up for that Pirates of the Caribbean story. I'm already sick of hearing myself talk. You can do it, but it's also TikTok people.
There's an interesting story about the It's a Small World ride. Next time you go on it, keep a lookout for the lesser sort of artistic things in it. Mary Blair, who created the ride, had a vision that you'd have some dolls that looked like you worked real hard on them, and then you'd have some dolls and they called it a rainy day art project. And so if you kind of look in the corners, you'll see like there's some hideous hippo that really you could throw together with paper mache in about 4 hours. And that's what she wanted. She wanted there to be very meticulous objects. That's like the kids that are singing, and then these sort of creatures that look like they were made in on just a rainy day.
I love the thought
thought that was
process, and
interesting.
then yeah, I'm
You know what?
dying out on that.
Good
stuff.
for her. I would say the same thing if I ran out of time and needed to slap a hippo together. Good for her.
Good for her.
So, Pirates of the Caribbean, which you
Do
mentioned.
we have the TikTok people? If it's not on the ready to, we have a million segments, and this
Yes.
definitely applies for our TikTok
Oh,
people.
wow.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
you know, most of our stories end up having a
Get a lot of
TikTok
news
element.
from TikTok.
We do.
It's a real source.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
the
yeah.
segment, there we go. The segment itself, as you can
We
tell,
actually-
is quite the think piece.
Our faces do look a little bit like the children on It's a Small World.
Yeah.
Kind of round.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, or the clock outside, one or the other.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So there were guests who took to the ride Pirates of the Caribbean in Los Angeles last week. Took an unexpected turn when the boat began to sink, truly immersing the riders in the fantasy world of the uncharted seas. Thanks, entrepreneur.com, for that lovely sentence.
Be smart them.
TikToker Justin James posted the clip last week, which has now garnered over 1.8 million views on the platform. Don't we just love seeing boats sink? I guess that's the moral of that story.
Especially full of tourists.
James captioned the video, "It was a hot mess. Honestly thought we were going to swim our way out of this." The boat's beginning to flood, starting to sink as the Disney Fire Department comes to rescue the guests. They have their own fire department. I did not know that.
But isn't DeSantis getting rid of that?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
I think it's like, yeah, no longer will you have safety.
Yeah, and it only took an hour for the Disney
Yeah.
Fire Department to get there. We'll see how long it takes for the State Fire Department to
Yeah.
arrive. Someone pointed out, I swear lately all I see are folks getting stuck on Disney rides. What is going on, and why does it take an hour to get you off? James told viewers in
You
the
can say
comments
that again.
section
Yeah, no kidding.
that riders were crammed into the boats like sardines, then claimed that
They're walking a plank.
Disney gave them $30 vouchers for socks, presumably since most of those trapped would have gotten their feet wet. Also gave them lightning lane passes, which allows the park
it.
goers quicker access to the front of the line on designated attractions. Last year, Disneyland removed several iconic trees from around the ride and turned the bark into special edition collector's items. Fascinating.
Bark.
Oh.
That's a stretch money wise.
Yeah.
We were talking about some of the many
Like,
changes.
just have a bake sale. Go on, sorry.
Truly.
I took my niece to Disney World last year, and I did notice Johnny Depp was still on the Pirates ride. I had heard rumblings that because of the allegations that he might be removed. He was still on there. I don't know if he was on a bigger capacity.
I think I heard they're just going to add an Amber Heard robot to yell at him, so that it'll basically balance it all out.
I love that.
And instead of the pirate dog pooping, it'll just indeed be Amber.
Allegedly.
But I could have been the dog. We don't know. But the other
good.
thing too is I know that they changed some of the other problematic stuff too, because for a while it was the pirates chasing a bunch of to use the term wenches of the time. I think they turned it around where the women are chasing them or something. There was a couple of changes made to make it a little more PC.
It was due. It was long overdue, I would say.
Yeah, and
It was a little rapey for maybe 50 years.
it was. You find that a lot of it, both cartoons and Parkwise, had a lot of rapey themes. In going through those videos, was there anything that kind of really shocked you as far as being a product of its time, 60s wise?
Oh, 100%. Speaking of pirate rape,
We always do.
I think it was my first video I made fun of that aspect of. That was one of the things I lampooned. But then later I found a video of apparently the day that Pirates of the Caribbean opened, they did a big show on the pirate boat that's in the lagoon at Disneyland, where they had actors dress up as pirates and take over this boat, and they threw the people on the boat off. But then they found these wenches and they put them on their shoulders, and they basically stole the women and then turned them into slaves, as the people at the park cheered and laughed and with glee. So I knew one day I had to make a video about that, and that was actually just in my very last video I put out. I kind of point out how that's more than a little rapey.
Steve, if we can find that one, that could be a good one to do after
Now,
Joe does her final thoughts.
As an actor, I'm sure you've had your share of very strange auditions, but what do you think the audition was for those women? Okay, now I need you to bend over and scream.
I'll bet you they were probably just they probably were the cotton candy making people normally, and they were just like, hey, throw on this costume and get raped. And they were like, what? Okay, another day at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Well, and for those, there's always the people, Disney fans are so passionate that whenever a minor change or an overhaul is made, they go cuckoo. I have always wondered why they don't just create an entire park of old rides. Unchained, exactly as they remember them. I mean, even the Figment imagination, all that stuff, they went cuckoo when that was changed, and just throw all the retro rides into Yesterdayland or something like that.
Disney does have their vault, right, of movies.
Right. Oh, I should have gotten that clip.
If there were a vault of rides, that would be
There you
pretty
go.
cool. And
Yes.
you know what? Make it a top dollar thing. Have people spend more money to go on the more offensive rides.
Oh my God, that is actually kind of.
Well,
See,
but
we'll have no follow through with this either. But that would be my guess. Yeah, and is there any life hacks also that you learned, especially as you got a tour from an Imagineer? You must have learned a lot of little secrets to get through things faster or get a deal or something like that.
Unfortunately, there's just no way to do Disneyland quickly. Unfortunately, and they just seem to have made it worse.
Yes.
I really miss the lightning pass lanes. Is that what it was called?
Yes.
And
Why
now-
did they? We did not have that. We really tried last time we were there.
That damn blue genie thing.
Yeah.
Trying to go nowadays, you have to understand this program on your phone, and I mean, I don't know how families do it anymore. It's just become so complicated. They should let's make the park twice as big, and so there's plenty of room for everyone. And I agree with you. Let's have 2 haunted mansions, the correct one, like the original, and then some shitty new version that they think is fun for kids. I couldn't agree more.
Absolutely. It just seems to me like it's a gimme. I'm sure there's probably some reason why they're not doing it. Well, man, we just love them. And you want to do
Thank
one more
you.
quick one? Do you think might be good for them?
Sure. Well, this is impressive. Talk about follow through. A California man sets a world record after visiting Disneyland for 2,995 days. His name is Jeff Reitz. Reitz? Sorry, Jeff, I don't know how to pronounce it. He started visiting the theme park in Anaheim in 2012 when he was unemployed as an excuse to leave his house and exercise.
And go on welfare. Where's he getting this money?
Yes,
Well,
exactly.
Jesus.
It started when he was given an annual pass as a gift. So he would go and he would exercise, break up the monotony of job hunting, boost his spirits. Before he knew it, he'd been going for 2 months straight. On his 60th day, Disneyland hosted a 24-hour event highlighting 2012 as a leap year, and he met a reporter who was covering the gathering. Then he started wondering about the Guinness World Records, but he realized you might have to pay a fee to the organization to be celebrated.
And all his money was going to the park.
Yeah, so he was like, I'll let it slip. But they did recognize him because he went up until the pandemic. When the park closed March 14th of 2020, he did almost 3,000 days. And now, because, like you said, of the overcrowding and the reservations that are needed to get into the park, it is
Can't do that
unlikely that anyone will be able to do what he did. So they have safeguarded his record. That is impressive and, like you said, very expensive. He did say in order to sometimes save money, he would bring his own lunch or he wouldn't eat there.
Yeah, because, well, he was trying to lose weight, so the last thing you'd want to do is eat there. But
That's true.
they should have plopped like a character head on him, and at least so that way he could entertain people as he walked through it monotonously over and over.
No kidding.
I just don't understand, but I love his follow through. Is probably beats them all. That is very impressive.
Well, I do wonder if he applied to work there. You're unemployed, you love Disneyland, you're getting to know the staff.
Yeah.
Right.
You can walk endlessly. Yeah, he's perfect for the parades.
Yes.
No kidding. And he kind of looks like a character in that Rain Slicker. As far as, on the topic of adult activities at Disney World, have you ever, this seems to be a much more popular thing now than it was, although I'm sure it always was. Have you ever gone to the park on shrooms or any other altered substance, and or have you ever drank around the world at Epcot? Because that to me seems like it could either be a great idea or a really, really small world bad idea.
No, well, I did. First time I ever did psychedelics was at Disneyland.
Oh, and, amazing! And how did it? Was it good or bad?
Well, I was in a corner staring at this concrete wall, they just couldn't drag me away. They're like, "There's a parade back there." I was like, "Oh, I'm seeing a parade right here. This is incredible." So I'm a big fan. I think psychedelics are an incredible thing, and anyone over 30 should definitely try them. It was really great, and also, it just for those people who like to drink but they don't serve alcohol at the parks. They don't check your water bottles, so
excellent.
Fill it up with whatever you want.
That is so. And I as one who is cheap as shit, I always forget to do that. That of course makes sense.
Again, you need the foresight and the follow through, Bill.
I did the Epcot drinking around the world thing for Yahoo Travel, so I could expense the drinks. Because otherwise, I think it ended up being close to $300 with every. And I drank like in France, I had the wine. England, the
that's
lager.
Disney beer. That's got to be much more magical than our regular everyday, right?
You think?
You would think it was worth it.
No, I got diabetes with the Chinese plum wine. I'll tell you that much.
I have seen a lot of the TikToks now where people share their drinking around the world experience, but I appreciated one woman who used the bathrooms around the world.
That's there he is.
She used all of the bathrooms and she rated them on decor, cleanliness, overall experience, wait time.
Someone hanging out in a bathroom, taking notes, a little creepy.
That you just basically described what Joanne does.
It's another YouTube wormhole you can go down.
Definitely.
Well, listen, Jack, we would love to have you back, and we will not talk your ear off about all things Disney next time. We do all manner of TMZ like fluff that I would love your opinion on. But before we let you go, plugs. Where can we see you? What's going on?
Let's see. Basically, I think the thing that I'd love to share is I made a film with Patrick Wilson, Matt Bomer, and Liv Tyler called Space Station 76. Came out a few years ago. It came out when people were just starting to learn there's a way to stream movies online. Yeah, it's available anywhere you stream a movie. If you like retro fun, it takes place in the future as we imagined it in the 70s.
My
So it's
favorite.
kind of it's a futuristic suburban spaceship where people smoke and have affairs. So if you're
I
curious,
love it. I'm watching that tonight. Where can we find that streaming wise?
Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, all those sorts of
Nice.
Perfect.
$3.99, pretty good deal.
Yeah,
Done and done. Well, yes, we will bother you. We would
Cheaper
love
than
to-
a beer at Disneyland.
Oh,
that's for sure.
seriously, I don't even think the coasters cost $3. Well, thank you.